G'day and welcome to this video. Today I want to talk to you about lawnmowers and why you seem to find lawnmowers chucked out on the side of the road, as I did a few days ago. So I was going for a morning walk and found a lawnmower and a couple of old push bikes stashed in the bush. Somebody had decided that they didn't want them anymore. What I tend to find with lawnmowers, petrol ones, is that people get very frustrated with them when they don't start. In fact, they get so frustrated with them because they won't start for whatever reason, they chuck them out. Now, sometimes these lawnmowers are fairly valuable and going condition, but some people just don't seem to care. They get frustrated and they throw them out, which is the case with this lawnmower that I found the other day. So I wanted to share this story with you and take you through the process. And eventually at the end of it, hopefully you'll see it going. So here she is here. I don't know if it's a she, but I'll call it a she. It's a, I don't know, I'm guessing 10-year-old Honda lawnmower. And I got the model there is a GCV 135, I guess that's a CC. And I noticed now online you can buy the GCV 140, so this must be a superseded model, but really not by that many years in lawnmower terms. And I would say the extra 5cc is probably pretty much the same lawnmower that they're selling now, and I noticed the retail value of those online at the moment is sort of between 600 and 700 Australian dollars for this lawnmower. So it's been cleaned up by myself. All the oil stains, all the old grass, all the cobwebs, all the spider webs, everything that was on it before has been taken off. So I'll just walk you through what I did to get this thing up to where it is now. Okay, so first of all, I'll just give you a spoiler alert. I did manage to get this lawnmower going, and I thought I'd just share with you a couple of the small tricks that I found and things that were wrong with this lawnmower in order to get it going. And I'm sure if you guys out there find an old lawnmower like this sitting on the side of the road and it's free, grab it if you need a lawnmower at home, because most of these lawnmowers don't take much to get going. And this is what I did. First of all, when I got it home after cleaning it up, I took this top cover off, and all it was 3 Phillips screws, self-tappers, pretty basic, that Honda put in here. There's one on the other side here. I'll just take this off. This cover comes off. And then we've got 3 nuts. So we take these 3 nuts off. It's got the starter cord, so I'll just rip that off. Which is one of those. Just happens to be a 10mm socket. So most of these lawnmowers, you only need a cheap socket set, maybe a Phillips and a flat-bladed screwdriver and a spark plug spanner, if there isn't already a spark plug socket in your small socket set that I have. So these 3 nuts come off. And this pulls straight off. That's off. Which lets you take the fuel tank off. I've still got the fuel tank connected here, but this will just give you an idea of what's going on. So I'll just bring the camera down here. So underneath here, underneath this cover, when you pull it off, you'll see a little switch there. Now that little switch makes and breaks the earth to the coil. There's a wire goes underneath here, comes around there and goes to the coil. So when you pull this handle, up here, it operates that switch. Now this switch must have got some water in it and it wasn't working, so I managed to pull that switch apart and get that switch working. So that was the first thing I did, because there was no spark coming out of the spark plug just here. So I was getting no spark. So that was the very first thing I did. So the second thing I did was put the spark plug out of here, put it on the end of this spark plug lead, and made sure it was grounded, and got my daughter to pull the engine over a few times, and there was no spark, lo and behold. So as you can see here, I went down the shop, bought a brand new spark plug. I think it's worth $6.75. So I bought a brand new spark plug at $6.75, put it into it, put it back on this lead I should say, got my daughter to pull it over again and watch for a spark, and there was a big strong spark. So there was two problems with the ignition system. One was the spark plug, and two was this switch over here. I thought at one stage I might have to replace the coil, but as it turns out, it was fine. All it was a spark plug, and because this spark plug's got a resistor, it's got an R in it, the resistors internally inside these spark plugs quite often break down. So new spark plug for $6.75, and that fixed the ignition. And then we come over to the carburetor. The carburetor was working fine. It was just some of the cables were jammed up and needed to be lubricated. I put some lubrication in the top, up the top there, and ran it down inside the cable. And I got the cables working fine, and the butterfly was jammed in the carburetor just there, but all that took was some carburetor cleaner and a spray can. I sprayed a bit of that and got it working, and got the carburetor working. So then the next thing to address was the fact that the engine wouldn't pull through with the starter. When you pulled the starter, it wouldn't pull through, it was fairly tight. So I emptied probably a good couple of big squirts of CRC down this plug hole here, or any lubricant you can find in a spray can, tipped the lawnmower back up, so this was facing up in the air a bit more, and also poured a cap of engine oil down the bore. And then I pulled the engine over probably, I don't know, 10 times, and it slowly started to free up. It got freer and freer, and it got to the stage where I was pretty happy with the fact that the engine was turning over. So the next thing to do was empty the fuel out of this fuel tank, because I didn't know how long it had been in there, put some new fuel in there, and put it back together. So following checking the spark, checking the switch for operation, and getting the carburetor going again, checked the air filter just to make sure it was clean, and it was. It's got engine oil in it. I've got a new spark plug. So really, what I've got to do, old spark plug, all I've got to do is put it back together and see how she goes. It goes on here somewhere. Starter, recoil, it works okay. Got 3 nuts to hold the fuel tank and the starter on. So if you're ever fixing a lawnmower, really, there's only 2 things that are going to stop it from going. Well, maybe 3. One is spark, 2 is fuel, if it's getting fuel, dirty fuel, any fuel, carburetor blocked, butterflies jammed. But 1 is spark, 2 is fuel, and the other one is if you can't pull it over, the engine's seized and it's never going to go. So doesn't really matter. So if you get a lawnmower with pretty well a cord that you can't turn the engine over at all with when you pull it, then my advice is to probably leave it. You're wasting your time. But with this lawnmower, there was a slight chance that it wasn't completely wrecked, because I could pull it over like this, exactly like that. So anyway, last thing to go is the cover. and the 3 self-tappers. I still can't believe that people throw these lawnmowers out just because they can't start them. I guess a lot of people don't really understand mechanical things that well, and they probably get frustrated. And all I got to do is take a deep breath, sit back, and just analyze the situation. Go through fuel and spark, and you'll get it going. Now for the moment of truth. Okay, I just turned the fuel on. Fuel is on, check. It's a little fuel tap here on the side. Fuel's on. Handle's in. Let's see if it's going to go. It runs like a treat, and somebody threw this lawnmower out. Thank you very much to whoever threw it out. One man's garbage is another man's lawnmower. I'd like to make a big shout out to all those people out there that are throwing lawnmowers away because they can't get them going. I'd just like to say thank you very much. Muchly appreciated. You chuck them out, guys like me, find them on the roadside, get them going again. In this case, I'll probably give this lawnmower away. I don't need it, I've already got a lawnmower. But it's great fun fixing them, getting them going again, and this is a $600 or $700 lawnmower to replace, and it cost me $6.75 for that spark plug, and a few hours labour. So, well worthwhile. If you've got a chance, you need a lawnmower, you see one on the side of the road, don't hesitate, stop, have a look at it. Doesn't matter if it's got cobwebs over it. Get rid of the spiders. If it turns over, there's a good chance you'll be able to get it going yourself. Just follow the instructions in this video and you should be sweet. Take care.